loosen my belt up here because I'm getting ready to do my sales pitch. Not my sales pitch, but my introduction to this lovely channel that you happen to find yourself on. Welcome to Sketching Past Midnight Live. I am your host, CB Smallwood, here with you on this. I guess it's Sunday morning where I'm at, even though the sun is not risen, you know. So good morning, good evening, good night, wherever you may be. And I think I've already mentioned this already, but I am your host, CB Smallwood. And with that, you're at Sketching Past Midnight Live. And let's go ahead and let's get into today's festivities. And as always, we all know that I have technical problems. So if stuff happens, stuff happens. I don't know what to tell you. So I figured I'd start off today with a little bit of weird news, and I'd segue into whatever topics happen to come to mind. I don't really plan these things out like I should, and I got this big circle doodad thing, and it does not want to go anywhere. Yeah, and I promise I'll actually get to some sketching and drawing very shortly, very, very soon. So is two planes report bright green UFO swooping through the clouds over Canada. A military plane may have had to swerve to avoid the mysterious object, surveillance data shows. Don't you pop up an ad. Late on July 30th, pilots of two separate aircrafts, one military and one commercial, reported seeing a mysterious green UFO vanish. Oh boy, eyes are starting to go. Vanish into the clouds over the Gulf of St. Lawrence on the Atlantic coast of Canada. According to a report posted August the 11th to the Canadian government's aviation incident database, both flights witnessed a bright green flying object that flew into a cloud that then disappeared. The object did not impact the operations of either flight, and that the report noted. One of the aircrafts that reported the sightings was a Canadian military plane flying from a base in Ontario to Cologne. So what that is, Cologne, Germany. The passenger flight was a KLM Royal Dutch Airlines plane flying from Boston to Amsterdam. Stephen Watkins, an aviation and shipping researcher, looked at the transponder data and from the two flights and saw that the military plane had climbed 1,000 feet, which is 300 meters for my European friends, and an altitude at the time of the sighting, possibly to avoid the object or get closer look at it. Okay, there's a chance that the UFO could have been a meteor streaking through the sky. Let's see. Blah, blah, blah. They're trying to explain what that might have been. Unlike the U.S. Defense Department, Canada's Department of National Defense does not track UFO sightings, a department spokesperson told Vice. Still, there's no shortage of civilian enthusiasts, and it's just talking about a bunch of random googly gook. Okay, so yeah, that's today's weird news for the day. and it's pretty much a big nothing burger, really. A commercial plane and a military plane both spotted a let me get up here, a bright green UFO, which is pretty neat. And when I think of UFOs, I've been thinking about this a lot lately. You know, my train of thought when it comes to UFOs is, I start thinking about, for example, in some cases where people talk about radiation and that sort of thing, being a, like in some crop circles, not all. Or some landing spots, landing zones where UFOs have alleged to have been, that there is radiation and stuff like that. And I started thinking about that, and I think that's a very key thing. And when we try to figure out, for the legit cases of UFOs, what's legit and what isn't, and that sort of thing. And I think radiation would be a telltale sign, in my opinion. And I think um, if you want to go extraterrestrial, you want to go alien with it. I would say that if UFOs are real, that they're not most, if not all, would not be powered by actual alien entities. Um, at least, I mean, probably remotely, but I doubt even that. More than likely, these craft are nothing more than advanced alien drones. Just like how we have drones and stuff like that. And so, why would these drones have radiation? I would imagine that if you live on a galaxy far, far away, and you traverse space, your craft is going to collect a lot of radiation, or by the mode of the travel of the spacecraft itself, would, if it was to go through a wormhole, so to speak, I would imagine that it would, collect a lot of radiation. I remember there's this one case where it was said that I think it was somewhere in Great Britain at a military base. There was alleged UFO landing and stuff like that, and then people tried to get in close to look at it, and it's like time slowed down and all this other stuff. Eventually, they did make it their way to the craft, and then there was like all these animals that had ran away, and this big loud noise came from the ship, and I feel like the reason for that is if if that alien technology is assuming any of that's true or not, we're having fun here. Assuming that is the case, and you're sending your alien probe, your alien drone to another planet, and that your spacecraft could potentially be radioactive or destructive to the indigenous life of that planet, you're going to find ways to make it hard for them to approach the craft. Now, some of you be like, well, why even land in the first place? Well, I don't know. Soil samples. Maybe the craft has to rest. Hence why a lot of these reported sightings of UFOs landing always seems to happen in the woods for one reason or another. A lot of these lights in the skies, hypothetically, if we're going to continue this train of thought of drones and that sort of thinking, are just more drones in the sky that are separating and they're doing different jobs. They're studying the magnetic field of Earth. They could be studying the ionosphere. I don't know, and others could be doing something studying the stratosphere. Another one could be studying the chemical elements in the air, and another one could be studying a vast array of things, going all the way down to the Earth's soil, going down and penetrating into the Earth's crust itself, and studying the mantle and all the different layers and stuff. That was a big mouthful. That's what I would imagine. I just think the whole subject is fascinating. Now, the reason that we're talking about UFOs tonight is I just thought it would be interesting. I will, of course, talk about other stuff here very soon, very, very shortly. Right now, just for the sake of sketching, I got my good old Captain America omnibus. Is that what it's called? Trade paperback thingy. Captain America Heroes Reborn. Got that bad boy out. Rob Liefeld art. And if I'm freaking out by like folding this down aggressively, to me, a trade paperback is the most perfect comic. You can abuse it. You can fold it, bend it, all this other stuff, because it's not like I think a newsstand edition is a lot different from, to me, a trade, which some people may view that differently. To me, a trade is like really great as an artist because I can flip through it. I don't have to worry about treating it special, and I can read it and I can learn from it, or at least that is my train of thought. So, thought about a lot about UFOs. Watched a really good documentary called Skinwalker Ranch. I think I saw it on Hulu, and I also watched Skinwalker Ranch, the series, which was done by the same people who done that really awesome TV series, The Curse of Oak Island. The Curse of Oak Island. They also did a TV series um, about Skinwalker Ranch. Skinwalker Ranch is just such a fascinating place with a fascinating history and all this other stuff. It's just really good stuff, And man, this is really hard to draw one-handed. I guess the reason I'm doing it like this is because I want you to be able to see what I'm doing. And here in just a bit, I will answer a couple of your comments. But I believe that if any of the UFO phenomena is real, and that if, hypothetically, that it would be, it kind of looks like a mustache thing going on. That if it would be extraterrestrial in origin, I think 99.9% of all these different UFOs are nothing than unmanned drones from, God knows where, that type of thing. Because that would make sense. I mean, that's what we would do. I mean, you could, you would send these things out first to study a world. Some people be like, why wouldn't aliens try to make contact with us? I think that would be a terrible idea, honestly. If you look at really good shows like Star Trek: The Next Generation, their whole thing is to not disturb um, cultures that are not advanced. Now, some people may assume or think that we're fairly advanced. I beg to differ. I mean, we're getting a little bit there, but we're still far behind. To me, I feel like, in my opinion, that if we still have people that are in wheelchairs and the human lifespan is roughly 60 to 80 years, and you know, we still haven't come up with cures for the most basic things like I think like tendonitis or something, whatever it's called, the ringing in your ears. We're not that advanced. If we're still using chemo as the go-to treatment for cancers and tumors, we're not that advanced, in my opinion. We still got a long ways to go. When you think about the whole UFO lore about UFOs and stuff, about the fact that if they were real and all this other stuff, why wouldn't they contact and all this other stuff? I think, again, going back to Star Trek: The Next Generation, the Vulcans, Spock's people, long live and prosper, that type of deal. They had been observing Earth for a while, but they didn't make contact with Earth until we developed warp drive technology, where we could at least go warp 1, go really fast through space or whatever, And it was then when they made contact, because once a civilization does that, I mean, they're going to eventually encounter other alien worlds and alien cultures or something like that, assuming space is even filled with alien life. Now, me personally, I kind of feel like if there is alien life out there, I believe that most of it would be machine. And my reasoning for that is there's a high likelihood that other alien races and alien cultures, if they exist, would have annihilated one another, and their technological achievements would be the things that would outlive them. So hypothetically, there would be these drones, these machines, these things that are set up on these barren moons that mine these resources, that are intelligent, that live on past their creators, fulfilling their programming, which whatever that may be. Um, and so that's how I see aliens, in my opinion, if they're out there. Do do do. And I had another quick little thought on this whole alien stuff. Oh yeah, I was talking about the warp technology of Star Trek. Where the Vulcans waited till we had um, developed warp drive, where we could go warp one. And I personally believe that if there are aliens, seem like they started taking serious notice of us. If you look at the activity that started exploding around the 40s and 50s, is around the time when we built the nuclear bomb, or the atomic bomb. My bad, the atomic bomb. Going atomic, baby. It's when we did that. And that would make sense, because aliens be like, oh boy, that they developed the ability to split atoms. This is a game changer. We better pay very, very close attention. So there's that. I think aliens, if they did exist, they would make themselves known once we do another milestone like that. And I don't know what that milestone would be. I don't think it would be world peace. I don't think it would be that. Be waiting a long time on that one. But then, what's a long time for advanced alien culture? Hmm, interesting. Bateau. Freaking burning up. I got my door closed here, and it's so hot. It's like it's not even. I guess it's not summer anymore. It's August. The heat's just pouring in, doing its thing. All right, time to answer some comments. Quit being aloof, whatever I am. Our most excellent friend with a very awesome avatar. Looks like Kenneth Rockerfort's. Gosh, I wished I got that book. I'm a poor man. I can't afford it. Not that it's expensive. I can't afford anything. That's the secret. That's my deep, dark secret. I'm a poor man from a poor family. Spare me my life. This monstrosity. But Jeremy Burtz writes, hello, CB. Hello to you, good sir. How y'all going, CB? Yo, what's up? Not much. I'm just sitting here pontificating. Don't even know what that word means, but I threw it out there. UFOs are cool. I wish they were real. I don't know. Maybe they are. One of the things that I forgot to mention, the possibilities, UFOs could just be us from the future, which is interesting. Which that's a very interesting possibility too. The idea that UFOs are from our future, probably a distant future. And then the question is, why are they traveling in the past? Because I would imagine you don't want to alter the past unless the future is super crappy. Think about that. But then it gets in this whole big, can you do that? How's that work? It gets into some really crazy territory. Do you prefer softback or hardback trades? I really don't care either way. When I collect comics, um, I am not your ideal collector. I have like so many books that I do treat like precious, like they are the um, Holy Grail, or something. And I do like, with floppies, I do treat those with reverence and respect, unless it's a really crappy comic. If I get one of those like a pack of comics, and then in that pack there's like two or three things of, I don't know, uh the hardcore or whatever, from Valiant, the first volume, like, you know ain't gonna be too particular about those. But as far as like my X-Men Onslaught books, or my X-Men Age of Apocalypse stuff, or my Max books, or I mean, you just name it, stuff like, yeah, I'll treat more pristine. Now, to answer the question of softback or hardback trades, you know, I have no preference whatsoever. It's just whatever's the cheapest that I can get a hold of. I'm very indifferent about it. Um, and these days, I remember when I went to a comic book convention in, gosh, I don't remember. But I went to a comic book convention, and I remember seeing like issue 3 or 4 or 5 or 6, the first couple issues of like Fantastic Four, the first couple issues of the X-Men, and they were there, and then they were in this hard plastic thing, and they were only a couple $100. One of them, a few of them was like $60, $80, $40. I'm like, what? Now, some of you may be like, CB, some of those books are probably priced that way because they're badly damaged or something. It's like, in my mind, I don't care about that. Those books are still rare. I mean, they're not falling off the truck anymore. you know, they are they are finite, I guess. Is that the right word? My brain's not firing on all cylinders. There's a limit to those old books, and so anyway. I guess my point of bringing that up is, when I saw that, it made me feel like my whole comic book collection was meaningless. I mean, it really is, because really, essentially, like, for example, this trade right here, what gives it value is what you're willing to pay for it. So if I can convince you to buy this off of me, which it's not for sale, uh, not because of any monetary value. It's just, I really like, this run of, Heroes are Born and art and stuff. But if I can convince you to buy it for $50, it's worth $50. If I can only convince you to buy it for a nickel, then it's only worth a nickel. And it doesn't matter what it's listed by some comic book buyer comics guide or something, or some price guide or whatever. It's just whatever somebody's willing to pay for it is the value it has, in my opinion. And so once I realized that, and I looked at the collection of comics I had, all of a sudden, like, stuff just didn't feel valuable anymore. So I still try to take care of my stuff, but, like, most of my comics are not in their poly bag, because I'm always flipping and going through things and all that sort of thing. Man, that was a long-winded answer. Very long-winded. I'll draw something else here. Let's find me another face. I'll answer this question, this comment. Okay. Let me I need to get some painter's tape, so that way I can just hang this stuff up. What I could do is just do this. A lot simpler. Let me raise this up. So, next comment. I watch Star Trek The Next Generation episode where there was an actual cultural customs put to question, such as Loginians' attitude toward females. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Loginians. Kind of puts me in mind of uh, Star Trek is really interesting, especially in the next generation, because without actually saying it, a lot of their alien species are actually based on cultures and races, or racial stereotypes here here on Earth. And I know that there was this one group called the Ferengi, which makes me think of what you're talking here, the Loginians, and they make their females walk around naked, and they seem like you know based on like Middle Eastern type of vibes, and a lot of mix of different cultures that they use to create them, like sort of like how the Cleons are a Star Trek version of like the Russians. The heck, I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking, what is that one group? I'm going to start this whole Star Trek discussion. Surely I can think of all my aliens. They're kin to the Vulcans. They're actually closely related, but they live on two different planets. Oh, I'll think of them later. Anyway, that group that broke away from Vulcan, they're basically like the Chinese. That's who they're kind of modeled after. Bum, bum, bum. Sideburns writes, my collection takes up some space, referring to comics. Sideburns writes, they were dressed very African, very subtle. Oh, yes. I know what you're talking about now. Oh, man. I might be able to get back my nerd cred. Uh, the I don't know. I know exactly what you're talking about, but it was in the early episodes, I think, of Star Trek back when they had I can't remember her name. She had blonde hair. It was cut short. She was the security officer before Worf, and they ended up like kidnapping her or something like it. I can't remember, and she had to fight do this battle or something, and the whole the whole customs of that people was just like very very atrocious. See, Ferengi are greedy and openly capitalist, though I think they're more racially ambiguous. I think some of the alien races are direct riff of countries slash races here on Earth, and others are like a mixture of like two or three. And I think the Ferengi are a mixture of like two or three. Um, and I'm not going to say what anything is because everybody's going to get mad at me. I'll let them figure it out. It's sort of like when you watch Godzilla and the actual Godzilla monsters, all of them represent different countries, and I can't remember which is which and all this other stuff. I think Mothra represents Japan. Godzilla might have represented the United States. Rodan may have represented Russia. I can't remember. And I think Monster Zero or Gohedra or however you pronounce it, he represented China. There's all these like hidden little things. And it seems like writers do this all the time. There's nothing wrong with it. It's inspiration. It gives more life to your work and that sort of thing. It seemed like Game of Thrones. Like there's quite a few things in Game of Thrones that writer used real life medieval things that had happened and basically did his own take on it here and there, certain different storylines. Whew. I'm gonna have to open up this room and burn it up. I ain't gonna make it. I'm starting to look a little bit like Bill Clinton. I'm gonna have to open up this room, Monica. I'm not gonna make it. You hear what I'm saying? I'm not gonna make it. Yeah, season 1 security officer was kidnapped. And caps locks. Yeah, yeah. Be laughing at caps locks. Okay, so we talked about aliens. We talked about Star Trek, and in different races and different things concerned with writing. I could actually show what I'm drawing. That could help. I guess now would be a good segue to show you with the power of my phone a problem that I'm having. So I'll go ahead and pull this up, and then I'll tell you what the problem is, and then I will show you a possible solution. But these things always seem to happen to me. But I guess maybe that's just fame. Maybe that's just me trying to make myself feel special. You know. Let's see. Let's go to my files. So here's what happened. Here's my problem. Okay, here's my problem. Let's go to images. Show me some images. So my problem is this: there was a Indiegogo campaign that got launched here recently, and Aaron Lopsetti, Lopresti. Is it Lopresti? Aaron Lopresti? Something like that. Okay. But anyway, he's done a Indiegogo for his book called Wrath of God or Wraith of God. I've heard EVS pronounce it as Wraith, but I thought it was Wrath. Maybe it's like one of these either or things where, like, there's like the word the and then there's the. Maybe it's like one of those types of scenarios. But anyway, so yeah, I went to his Indiegogo campaign to check it out and all this other stuff. I'd really like to get my hands on his Garbage Man book or Muck Man book or whatever it's called. Aaron's work is really good. I think I first became aware of him. I feel like he did a few issues of Sludge for Malibu Comics. I love Sludge. He's an awesome character. Anyway, if I'm correct, I think that's where I first realized he existed. And the last stuff I remember him doing was for DC, where he did last several issues, I think, of Damage, which was their version of the Hulk, which is a really cool, underrated book. Wasn't like mind-blowingly awesome, but if you liked 1970s, 1980s Hulk, you would have loved Damage. So check that out. That's worth getting, in my opinion. And for anyone watching this, what I'm doing right now is just sketching, doing the namesake of the show. None of this means anything. None of this has any value. I'm just finding stuff to do. I do have important projects that I need to work on, and I am sort of working on. But right now, as I figure out things, get situated, I like to stay busy and try to keep drawing so I can keep improving and figure stuff out. And the crazy thing is, I can tell I'm getting better. And some of you right now are like, CB, what was this big problem you was talking about? Why did you bring up Aaron Lopresti or whatever? Oh, well, I'm glad you asked. So anyway, I was looking at his Indiegogo campaign, and on the top of his comic in the corner where the logo goes, the name of his comic book company is Empire Comics. Excuse me. Pardon me, good sir. The name of my comic book company is New Empire Comics. Now, originally, I wanted to call my comic book company Empire Comics, but I know that there is seems like there's an Empire magazine, there's an Empire Comics store. Okay, there's an Empire Comics store, and I don't know, Empire Comics this, Empire Comics that. There's all kinds of these wonderful Empire comic things, right? So, I decided when I named my comic company New Empire Comics that, first of all, I did some research, and as part, I didn't see anybody else that were using that name, and so mine was New Empire. It's going to be a new empire, just now getting started. And then Aaron's putting out his Wrath of God book, and he's calling his book his company Empire Comics. So it puts me in a thing. Am I going to go ring him up and confront him like, I don't think it's a good idea you use that name? No, I'm not. But like the only reason it's an issue, okay, is sort of like brand confusion, a little bit. It's like I already have like a website dedicated to New Empire Comics. I got things that I'm working on that's going to have that label on there, And, I started it back in 2017, which I think predates Empire Comics. So what I decided to do is, if worse comes worse, I do have a backup thing, which this backup thing is one of two names that I'm playing with. And so here's a possible backup to if I decide I'm going to stick with New Empire Comics right now. I'll Jens, let me know either in the live chat if you happen to think of it, or when you watch the replay. If you watch the replay, let me know in the comment section down below if you think I should rename my comic book company, change the name of New Empire Comics, or stay the course. So this is my big solution of the thing. So if I change the name, it would be, come on now, camera. It would be something like this. Only the best horror, action, sci-fi, top notch. And then I got another version where it's got comics written down below, but that's not necessary. That's just extra fluff. But come on. There we go. But yeah, that's something I kind of crapped out. Really like how that came about. Very Spartanish in terms of just all the necessary ingredients and none of the fluff. So that's a backup name that I got that I will try to TM and all that other stuff, and copyright and I don't know all else. The only problem with Top Notch is I think Archie Comics did a Top Notch Comics line, but they didn't call their company Top Notch. At least I don't think so. It may have been called something like MLJ. I'm not really for sure. I don't know. So yeah, that's my big conundrum, my big problem issue of the day. And it's another one of these things. It's very unfortunate because the whole situation that I find myself in, which it ain't a bad one, it ain't horrible, it ain't terrible, but I wouldn't be in this situation in the first place had I not be more prolific and have a lot had a body of work out there for people to read and see and be like, hey, um, this guy's company is called New Empire Comics. Me not want to name mine that one, that one, you know, that sort of deal. Bum, bum, ba, also, if anyone is writing in the chat, um, you know, some of these live stream things can be notoriously slow in terms of updating. So, you know, this is the last comment that I see. Just putting that up there. Because I've noticed that on other people's live streams, sometimes I'll be typing in the chat and it never pops up. You know, I see other people typing stuff in the chat and it'll never pop up. You know, it's not in all people's live streams. It only does it in a few, I've noticed. But you know, something to think about. Food for thought. Mm-mm-mm. Getting quiet. Nobody wants me quiet, or maybe yins do. I'm still watching. I'm still engaged. Yeah, I like that. Get all cryptid on me. I'm still watching. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, so my two other topics that I had to discuss. Well, three. I got three actually. Okay. One is future projects, Hulk, and creepypastas. So let me write that down because I will forget. Future projects, creepy, Hulk. Okay. So I'll talk about the creepypastas. So you know, yins are well aware by now, I imagine, that I've been doing creepypastas. I've been using the Sketching Past Midnight moniker as the you know, kind of like the de facto thing that I'm calling my Creepydrawstas pastas or whatever. I've had a couple of people say, you know, CB, where's your creepy pasta spaghetti dinner creepy things? Where those went? You know, why aren't you doing those? Um, well, first of all, the reason I've not been doing them is I took a kind of like an unintentional break because it's a lot of work to do those because um, my me doing reading creepypastas or something is difficult. You know, it's difficult. You know, I hear other people that read their creepypastas and they do such a great job. They really do. They have, well, first of all, it really helps when you actually have an excellent voice for it. And I feel like my voice is not an excellent voice for creepypastas or reading any type of book, honestly. But I feel like if I work on it and I put effort in it, that the creepypastas that I read, the stories that I read, um, are can be good. Not saying great, but I think they can be good. And I think I've done some good ones. I feel like I have, but that's just my own bias. Right now, when I look at the performance of the videos, they're getting an average of 25 views, give or take. So basically, most of the people on my channel, when people are really engaged with this channel and curious about what I'm putting out, I'll get about 60 plus views, and that's on a really good day for content that I'm really passionate about, which is like drawing and doing wildcat stuff and things like that. Now, if I'm just like doing like mental junk food stuff where I'm talking about the comic book gossip of the day, Rob Liefeld did this, Ethan Van Sciver did that, and all this other stuff, then I'll get like a couple hundred views or 500 views, that type of thing, right? But with the creepypastas, they're averaging out about 25 views. Now, the first one got about 68 views, but I think the reason was I think a lot of people that watch this channel that like my comic book stuff, they're like, CB Smallwood was abandoned by Disney. Oh, I can't wait to see this. This is going to be great. I'm going to hear his crazy stories. And then they're going to listen to it and like, it's like, oh, he's telling a fictitious story about a weird Mickey Mouse. I'm not in for this. I didn't sign up for this. So I think a lot of people on this channel, that's their attitude. And that's not a bad thing either, because people like what they like. So my thought on the creepypastas is I will eventually find an audience for it. It's a good merger of my interest, which is scary stuff and comics and art and all this other stuff. People can watch me draw, get exposure to Wildcat. Gosh, I'm struggling with English. And get this creepy stuff. And so, merging two different audiences together, which I think is really cool. And the way the YouTube algorithm works is basically you have to do like so many videos in a row, and you also have to have X amount of videos, like 10, 20 videos, before YouTube considers what they call an expert on the subject that you're covering. So if you do a lot of drama videos, it'll take about anywhere from 20 to 30 videos before YouTube goes, hey, you must be an expert on the subject because you cover it a lot. And then that's when they start promoting you in the algorithm. Now, just because they promote you in the algorithm doesn't mean you're going to be a success, because if that was the case, I would already been a success because, because I think there's been a few times when the algorithm has promoted me. But then it comes down to like you got to make content that people want to see, and I haven't got to that point yet. I'm getting close. I can feel it in my bones. I'm getting close. And some of you might be like, well, why is that so important, CB? Well, I just want to promote my comics, promote my art, and maybe I can build it up to be a thing where I can earn passive income. I don't know. But it's like one of these things where I don't know till I try. I'm not going to sweat bullets over it because making comics is the most important thing, and the YouTube stuff can't get in the way of that. Because if it is, then it kind of defeats the purpose of everything that I'm trying to do. If that makes sense. But I really like this creepypasta direction. I've got a good feeling about it. I just have to, stay the course. Right now, I've got one video that I've been very slowly editing. It's not overproduced like the last one I did with all the special effects. This one's just pretty much just me talking, except for I'm using a kind of like a high-pitched accent. When I say high-pitched, I don't mean like Mickey Mouse high-pitched. It's just like just a higher vocal pitch. And I've also did an alternate version where I altered my voice using Audacity to where I've lowered the pitch of my voice to give it a much deeper sound. You know, and that version's pretty cool too. So I'm a little bit torn on those two, but basically I took a break because it's a 30-minute video where I have to listen to the whole thing after I've done recorded it once for 30 minutes or an hour, and then go and just delete all the bad parts and cut it together. And sometimes have to add in new things because I mispronounce stuff. You know, I'm really bad for that. And usually, when I read a creepypasta, I just kind of I just go for it. You know, I just start reading right away. You know, I don't do like a pre-read. I just go right into it and I just start reading. And what happens? What happens? Yeah, yeah, something like that. There's a big A for you. Kind of looks a little bit cartoony, but also a little serious at the same time. You know, just the whole thing. Say, you act and have good delivery with your narration. Maybe cut back on the heavy filters. Heavy filters. What do you mean, like on the some of the sound effects, that type of thing? Is that what you're talking about? But I think it's pretty cool though. You said that I act. That's yeah. I was wondering if anybody would pick up on that. You know, because sometimes when I'm reading these things, it's saying voice changers. Ah, hmm. Give me food for thought. So does sometimes do you think the voice change when I change my voice that it kind of throws takes you out of the story? That's what I was thinking. That maybe that's what you're meaning it as. I'm just thinking. But this story that I'm working on right now is pretty cool. It's just a fun, goofy thing, and I think it's this story is going to be taken one or two ways. The one I'm working on now, which is called Dr. Sammy. It, either people is going to really love it, or it's going to be just like they're just going to be super annoyed because of the voice it is. You know, the voice started when I first started doing the voice for the character because I felt like it kind of required it because of the way he talked and the type of the language that he would use was very elitist, very very regal beagle, you know, that type of thing. And so I tried to channel that a little bit. And so when I started out, there's this actor who played in I think it's the Ninth Gate. I'm not for sure, the Nth Gate. I don't know, whatever. It's that Johnny Depp movie. It's pretty good, you know, where this guy who hires Johnny Depp to find these secret books or something, these satanic books, because he wants them for his collection. And so that guy at the main beginning, you know, my voice was sort of like his or something like that. Let's see, where's my markers? So I did that, and then probably like barely 5 minutes into it, my voice turns into something that kind of resembles um, Luke Skywalker. What is his name? The guy that does the voice of the Joker. It turns into that, but I don't know. Pretty cool. I can't always make out what you're saying. I can appreciate what you're going for. Uh, okay, I'll work on that. I'll work on that. Because that's like one of the worst things you can do when you're reading these stories is uh, get it to where people can't even understand what you're talking about, you know, and they can just get the emotion of what you're doing, which is, I guess, it's good if you're doing like Shakespeare on a stage, but that's more of a visual cue, audio, just pure audio, really have to enunciate. So I may have to rethink my approach. I know that, I don't know, it's just like sometimes when I read some of these creepypasta stories or I listen to other people read them, let me phrase it that way, and they'll get to this thing where, like, somebody's been eaten in half by a giant shark or something, I don't know, or giant alligator. And then the narrator's like, oh my God, he has been devoured, you know. And instead, when I see it, I'm not thinking like, oh my freaking God, he's been devoured. you know, I felt like it should be, read with a little oomph. But the people that do that, that read these things for a living, they don't do that, and they're having, they're doing really well with what they're doing by just being kind of bare bones about it. So I think there's some definite truth to that. Truth. Mm. I can actually draw a little bit better than this, just a little bit. To be honest, I'm mainly just drawing for the camera. I kind of just wanted to let everybody know that I'm still alive. I'm still working on stuff, still working on the Wildcat anthology. Um, I'm doing stuff, and I just like talking to everybody too. I like talking to y'all. Something I really enjoy doing. The live streams are one of my favorite things. They may not be the things that I do the best, but dang it, I do so enjoy them. Okay, so in my topics, I talked about creepypasta, so I guess I'll go with the Hulk next. We'll talk about Hulk. So I've been a bit of a funk here lately, and my funk that I've been into is basically just life fatigue, mostly just the fatigue of doing the same job over and over, and it's not a job that's very fulfilling, and when I do this job, I take it serious, take pride in my work, but at the same time, it's like everyone from your supervisors to the people above them, they could care less as long as this or that's getting done, that type of thing. They don't really reward you in terms of pay, in terms of less work. In fact, the better you perform, the more work they give you. The more responsibilities and all this other stuff. It's just that's everywhere. That's everywhere, to be fair. But anyway, just tired of it, and I'm one of these people that's ready for a career change. Well, I wouldn't say career, a job change. To me, a career is something, in my opinion, that you love to do, that you get paid for. A job is something that you do to pay your bills. And so I'm working at my job, and I want to take another job on that is just going to pay me more. I'll be giving up, a lot of days off where I get paid, but after they take out all the insurance and they take out for snow days and all these other things, I get paid um, every month about $700, which isn't even minimum wage. It's below minimum wage, and I'm supposed to get paid um, $9 and I think 43 cents or something like that. And it's not that they're ripping me off, to be fair. Insurance takes so much, and then all this other stuff takes so much. I've done the math. I can see where the money's going. I understand why the money's going where it's going. It's just going everywhere, but not in my pocket. And I just don't have any spending money. Because by the time you buy food to eat, if you're hungry, when you're at work or paying for gas to go to work, pay for gas to go to class so you can go do your kung fu. I don't know. The money just goes out the window. You just ain't got much to show for it. At least I don't. Got one guy that does that show where he tells people how to save money and stuff like that. He'd probably disagree wholeheartedly. Or forget that guy. Forget him. He's not here. I am. So anyway, I want a job change, job, and so I'm looking at a lot of work from home jobs. That's kind of like my mental focus right now. And that way, if I can have like X amount of money that I could make, I would put some aside for my son to make sure that he has like something like a college fund or a life fund. Like basically when he turns like 20 or 25, I don't know, somewhere in there, somewhere where he's not an idiot. To me, you're still a kid all the way up till you're 18, and I think you're like a teenager till you like almost 30. I don't think you turn into an adult till you're 30. But anyway, that aside, I just like to put money aside for him. I like to have extra money in my pocket just to spend on wacky doodle stuff that I just want to spend it on. Our amazing friend here, Peter Retro Palmiotti. I'm finally getting where I'm learning people's names. I'm doing better. That's like the new expression for the kids of this generation. Do better. I am doing better. Hello, good sir. So far tonight we've covered UFOs for the first 20 minutes. We talked that segue into Star Trek, which segued into comics, talking about, well, not actually talking about this book, but Heroes Were Born, Captain America. And we talked about the creepypastas. And now I'm talking about Hulk. And so anyway, I'm wanting to do this career change and all this other stuff. I'm just very, very in a weird place. And it's sucking the life out of me and all this other stuff. And so sometimes you just got to find you did good. Ha ha. Thank you. Let me tell you one. I'm getting a weird little, I don't know if tangent's the right thing, but I have a really, really bad thing with names. I'm not dyslexic. At least I don't think I am. But like if a name is like so long and it doesn't end with Smith, it's like my brain creates a name for you. Like I used to call John Bry, um, Carlos Pacho, Pacho. I'm still not pronouncing him right, but I used to call him something something other. I used to call Dale Keon Dale Neon. He was Dale Neon forever. I mean, all my favorite creators is I just did it to them. I was butchering their names left and right. I'm so bad at that. So anyway, I was talking about Hulk, and I'm just such in a funk that I decided, hey, I just need to just drop everything that I'm doing, everything that I'm attempting to doing, and just have some fun and just draw some stuff that you really enjoy. And I love Wildcat and all this other stuff, but I'm a big time Hulk fanboy. You know, these ain't in no particular order. Oh, here's some Wildcat for you. Like that? Like this Wildcat business? Yeah. Hopefully there's some ladies watching and they can get their eyes full. Yeah, look at that. Let's see. Here's a Wildcat that went wrong. Went all wrong. There you go. Here's some me studying Rob Liefeld. And this is more Rob Liefeld study, but I'm kind of drawing his stuff kind of my way, which is kind of like a mix between a little bit of Keon, a little bit of Run Friends, Liefeld bone structure with a dash of Silvestri. So most of you be like, I don't even see that at all, CB. You're on crack. Well, okay, fine. I'm on crack. Whatever. I've been exposed. I'm sorry. I know I'm hitting you with a lot. Let's see here. But yeah, I just wanted to have some fun, stretch my legs, you know, that type of thing. I'll raise this thing up where you can see. So I've drawn lots of Hulks. It didn't start out this way. Actually, what I did was I was trying to find my way as far as like drawing Hulk. I don't have them here. Where are they at? I don't know where it went, but I started drawing them in a very Sal Buscema way because Sal Buscema is one of my favorite comic artists, especially when it comes to the Hulk. I think he did some of the best Hulk, in my opinion. It's very expressive and it was very dynamic and fun. Um, and then of course, you know, I love Todd McFarlane's Hulk. That was a very short-lived run. The last 5, 6, 10 issues, Todd started inking the Hulk himself. Jim Sinclair, I think it was Jim Sinclair, was inking him before that, and he did a decent job. Sometimes he did really good, and other times not so much. And then the other inker they had before that just wasn't a good mix. And so when Todd started inking himself on Hulk, it was awesome and phenomenal. And I'm going to say something that a lot of people is going to find blasphemous, but I personally find Todd McFarlane's Hulk to be superior to Todd McFarlane's Spider-Man. I really do. I think it's the better of the two. I think Eric Larson did a better Spider-Man, at least anatomically, you know. So I was trying to find my way drawing the Hulk, and so I started doing some John Buscema looking Hulk, and then I incorporated a lot more McFarlane into it. But I put some Keon-ish things in there. And let me move these out of the way because you probably bored the tears with looking at the same thing all day long. Let's see. So I've just been drawing a lot of this stuff and posting it on Instagram. I figured, try to grow me a little following there. And here's Hulk and some of his forgotten 1970s, 1980s friends. And he would always fight these random bad guys that they would just cook up just for the Hulk. And there's like a plethora of villains that Hulk fought in the even in the 60s, 70s, and 80s that never really returned again or were never really used again. And there's like a big opening for that. And then here's that girl from the 80s. Don't know much about her. As a Sal Buscema fan, you'd think I would know, but like he did a lot of Hulk, so. And my comic book collecting began right about that time, and most of what I was getting was Transformers, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles by Archie Comics, I think, Ghostbusters by Now Comics, maybe. Eventually got into X-Men and Batman and Superman before that stuff, here and there, not very much. But then got into X-Men really heavy, and that's when my collecting got very serious. But you have to forgive me if I don't know her name. I'll figure that out later. Throw these to the side. I don't think this. Oh yeah, okay. And so a lot of these are just study sketches, me trying to figure stuff out. Love how this turned out. You can, I think, you can see the McFarlane in it. One of the cool things that McFarlane does that I really like that really hardly anybody would do is when Bruce Banner would change into the Hulk, his clothes would rip, but sometimes his clothes would rip off completely, but other times there would still be evidence of a T-shirt or something like that. A lot of times, Sal Buscema, when he would draw the purple pants being shredded, there would be this thing that would hang over top the pants. And the colorist, I think, would always think that's part of the pants, but I don't think so at all. I think that was part of his shirt. That was what was left of his shirt, but it always got colored purple. And the thing I love about Todd's Hulk is it was just everywhere, and you could do a lot of cool stuff with that. I like that. I like the Sal Buscema Hulk. I'm calling Buscema, whatever. You know what I'm talking about. Sal's Hulk is he wasn't like overly muscular like a bodybuilder, like this, which I love this. This is awesome. Lots of tone and definition, when you're usually dehydrated and stuff as a bodybuilder to show that tone and definition. But I liked Sal's Hulk because he was just beefy and big and beefy. And the cool thing about that is he came across as very stout, strong. You know what I mean? Like, you ever seen those people that's just big and beefy, and they may not have like rippling muscles, but they're just big, and you can tell when if they grab you, that they can never let you go if they wanted to. They could hold you. You belong to them. You belong to them now. So there's a bit of McFarlane in this. I think a bit of Keon. Maybe you can say that or not. And I've just been having fun with the cross hatching, just not having a care in the world, When I start drawing these things, I just have an ink pen and I just go for it. Like if you look at Hulk's face, you see this circle? That's me starting to draw his head. And then basically I just go for it. And that's how the rest of it ends up the way it does. I've also, which I need to work on my Hulk anatomy or my anatomy period a lot more, So I'm going to start studying you know, more Del Keon, obviously, but also Ed McGuinness. Is that how you pronounce his name? He did the Hulk book from 2000 something or other, the Red Hulk comic with Jeff Loeb. Been working on my ladies. When they come out sloppy, they come out looking like this, so that's good. I feel like I'm doing good. When I come out good, or at least what I think is good, it looks something like this. So I got my Betty Banner in here. And here I was drawing Hulk without looking at anything because I wanted to like take everything that I absorbed, and it's like, okay, just go with it and try to crap it out, and it crapped out pretty good. Some anatomy problems here, but whatever. Here I am drawing General Ross. Messed his hat up, but that doesn't matter. There wasn't enough room to really do anything. But you know, let's get him down. Kind of wanted to add stubble and stuff, but you know, he's a military guy, so just kind of left that off. So all that grit and grime is just age. And here we got Rick Jones, which someone, I feel like, was it you, Sideburns, that told me this? It was either you or somebody else told me that that this looked like Rob Liefeld, and I see it. So yeah, and the funny thing is, I feel like Rob Liefeld and Rick Jones are very similar in a lot of ways. So that's pretty cool. Let me answer some comments here. Let's see. Dig the style. We're all a mix of influences. Thank you. Really appreciate that. We are. Nice Wildcat. Yes, loving it. I'm boosting my ego. How was I not following you on Insta? I am now. Well, thank you. That's awesome. Appreciate that. And the last one, get me caught up. Yep, Ed McGuinness. All right. I think the only reason I can pronounce his last name because it's like a is there like a Guinness beer? I think so. Love his bulkiness. I was looking at his Hulk today, and I was studying it, and something I noticed is I feel like Ed McGuinness had to had some Sal Buscema comics pulled out with, you know, Sal Buscema Hulks pulled out, and because it looks like that was the bone structure, the basic structure of what he was working from, and then, you know, he did his rendering style over top of that. Which is pretty cool because I'm sort of doing it already, and so studying him wouldn't be that big of a, yeah. Sideburns writes, you won't have trouble with my last name then. I can unsee Liefeld now. Yeah. All that guy needs is just need to draw Rick Jones with some Levi's. Oh, I'll show you this. In my handy dandy sketchbook, I pretty much filled up all the right pages in this thing, and so now what I'm trying to do is do something I've never done before, which is start doing the left side, which I'd always leave bare. And the main reason I would do that is because your artwork bleeds through the other page, and I don't want that. But now I just don't care. I just really want to start filling these things up. But that's not what I wanted to show you. I was trying to work on A-bomb. I got a little carried away because I didn't start with the structure first, you know. Instead, what I did was I started adding the fluff, all that fancy rendering, which is okay if you're used to drawing something a certain way. But I'm not used to drawing Ed McGuinness's A-bomb, that blue version of the Abomination, which is what Rick Jones turns into. So I want to get good at that and find my own way of drawing him. And I also want to find my own way drawing Sasquatch from Alpha Flight, you know. But I'm throwing that out there as well. So anyway, I think we're pretty much caught up. So this is one of the last things I was going to talk about, which is future projects. So after I get done with the Wildcat Anthology, and you know, everybody gets their homework turned in, and I get done with my homework and get it all formatted and sent in and all the other stuff and printed, and, well, crowdfunded or printed, whatever. And it's like, then what, you know? And oh man, honestly, I don't know. It's like, you know, my thing is, I still got a long way to go as an artist to get good, to do a certain quality that I want to do. And I was trying to explain this on it was on a live stream. My memory is really bad. I'll think of it here in a little bit. But anyway, I was on a live stream and I was trying to explain to the person that was live streaming, you know, like we were having a conversation about drawing and drawing with purpose and that sort of thing. And I was basically explaining, you know, I'm without a rudder because, or whatever, without a propeller, maybe, I don't know. And because like I'm not sure where I want to go. And what I mean is, you know, should I just keep drawing Wildcat ad to infinity, which I don't want to do that, because I want, when people see Wildcat, I want them to think it's the bomb.com. It's the best thing they've ever seen. But the only way I can get Wildcat to that point is if I have a big body of work. I mean, the best example I can give is for those of you that remember, and for those of you that don't, Mark Silvestri, he started out drawing Conan back in the 80s, maybe early 80s, not for sure. I don't know how many issues he did of Conan, but you know, he was a shoe-in because, you know, he had a very John Buscema look to what he did. And he went from that to I don't know. Did he go straight to X-Men after that? He may have. I'm not for sure, but I'm sure he probably did one or two oddball projects before that. But at some point, he did X-Men for a while, and he was just really good, solid storyteller. He just could tell a solid story. And then from his X-Men, he went and did Wolverine. And in Wolverine, he started to flex a little bit more, started to do a little bit bigger panels and all this other stuff. But still, he was doing that very straightforward storytelling stuff. And I'm sure he probably had probably close to 100 issues of comics that he's drawn under his belt to that point. And then in the 90s, when he jumped ship and helped to co-found Image with the other Image founders, he did Cyberforce. And when he did Cyberforce, he changed things. He studied Rob Liefeld, the way Rob Liefeld would do his layouts, and he started to incorporate that in his layouts. And so that's the reason when you look at Cyberforce, everything's very explosive and a lot more dynamic. And I was noticing that the way he would do stuff is he would have at least one big image per page. So that way he would do the classical storytelling and then one big image per page to really sell it. An anchor shot, is that what that's called? An anchor shot. So anyway, my point is, to get Mark Silvestri that did Cyberforce, you had to get Mark Silvestri that did Conan, that did X-Men, and did Wolverine. And if Mark Silvestri did not do Conan, X-Men, Wolverine, you could not get Mark Silvestri Cyberforce. So I want CB Smallwood Cyberforce, and that Cyberforce is Wildcat. Does that make sense? And so I need to be drawing to build up to that, because I want it to be great. So after the Wildcat anthology's over, I'm torn. Should I draw Monster Patrol, my another comic book creation of mine, and just start doing a webtoon on that? And then there's this bad boy. Finally got to it. I'm sorry. This guy's a public domain character. His name is um, Super American. This is Super American, and he keeps turning out like Arnold Schwarzenegger when I draw him. I'm Super American. I am from the future, and I go back in time to fight Nazis. Sounded nothing like Arnold, but whatever. So I've been trying to get the Super American look down. I started goofing off. I'll probably get rid of that, but I thought like instead of like a small star, like what's more than American than a giant belt buckle of a star. I'll probably I might reduce this star or keep it the same, because it conflicts with his big shield image on his chest. The origin of Super American is pretty cool because basically there's a scientist that's able to contact the future, and he's like, "Hey, we're losing this World War II. We need help." And so, like, "Hey, oh, we heard about this trouble you had back then. We'll send one soldier to go back in time to fight this war." And basically, this one soldier, like everybody has superpowers in the future. So they send this one guy back, and that's Super American. And I thought, well, okay, what I could do with that is maybe I could do a web comic of Super American, and my version would be is same concept. The scientist contacts the future, except for everybody's dead in the future. Everybody's dead. It's like a dystopian nightmare. There's nobody around, and basically the Super American's like a Terminator. and he's got all these puns about freedom and all this other stuff and Lady Liberty and you can name it, and he just brutally annihilates the Axis powers. and the reason that we're losing in World War II against the Axis powers because they get future technology, okay? And so it's like throwed everything out of whack. And so I thought that would be a fun story to do, where I could not worry about whether my art looked great or not. I could just focus on telling a story, and over time, my art would get better and better and better because I'm drawing a lot. Does that make sense? That's the goal. All right, so let me move this crap out of the way, and I'm sorry that you just had to look at that one image forever, and probably looks like Bart Sears a little bit. Hey, I'm a Bart Sears, Captain America, even though he was looking at Rob Liefeld. I wasn't trying to draw exactly like Rob Liefeld. I like to take and glean little things that he does and incorporate that in what I do, and I find that I get cool results when I do that. The Lion Tiger Man 23, yo, how are you doing, my man? I'm doing good. I'm glad that you're here with us tonight. Most excellent one. Peter writes, it's going to be fun. The Wildcat Anthology. I've been cleaning my schedule to get to my pages soon. Awesome. Excited. I really love the inks that you're doing on it. Like I know this sounds really dumb of all the things to compliment about the inks, but when I saw those chains that you inked, oh boy, I was licking my chops. I'm like, those are some killer looking chains. I gotta say, you do some awesome inks on those chains. I like that. Or maybe I'm seeing things. Maybe I'm remembering a different entry in the anthology. Jeremy Burtz writes, I'm back. Come with me if you wish to live. Jeremy Burtz. Oh. All right. And gosh, I've been all over the place tonight. Did I lose my pencil? I'm losing everything. And so I'll pose this question again that I got a little bit of a fuller house. I had a problem, a conundrum Um, the most excellent one, Aaron Lopracetti. I think he done some sludge books for the Ultraverse back in the day. Last thing I know that he drawed that I saw was Damage for DC Comics, their take on the Hulk. And his new Indiegogo, Wrath of God, his comic book company is called Empire Comics. And my comic book company is called New Empire Comics. So what do I do? I'm not mad. I'm not mad. I just worry about, brand confusion just slightly. A lot of things like that. And so I was like thinking, should I stay the course and just keep New Empire Comics a thing, because it's a pretty cool logo, and I've had it since 2017. And what was the other thing I was going to say? Oh yeah. But if I do change my comic book company name, I might change it to this. I've got a couple of different things, but only the best, top notch horror, action, sci-fi, top notch comics. But I don't think I'd be able to change my website name though, unless I want to pay more money to my website provider. I don't think it works like that. But I don't know. I may just stay the course with New Empire Comics, but I always got a plan. Always thinking ahead, which gets me in trouble sometimes. Sometimes it's just best to just go for it. Yeah, I kind of messed it up when I did that little feathering. That's why we're just going to double down and get rid of it. Let's see. It's off the chain. That's right. I know you're not talking about my artwork. You're talking about the chains I was talking about earlier. But the ego part of me is like, he is talking about your artwork. It's off the chain, man. It's how awesome it is. Speaking of awesome artwork, you guys remember John Boganoff? I can't pronounce his last name. Can't pronounce anybody's last name. But he did. What was that superhero team of kids that Marvel had? That the something pack. I don't know what they were called. They were called something other pack. I can't remember. But anyway, yeah, he drew that team, and then he went and drew. He drew Superman at some point, and then Man of Steel for a very, very short period. He's just so good. He's just such an awesome Superman artist, and I feel like he never gets credit for that, and it's a shame, It's some great artwork. Let's see. Lion Tiger Man 23. I changed my name from the Lion's Den back to Lion Tiger Man 23. Yeah, I know who you are. I know who you are. I knew it was you as soon as I saw it. Why'd you change your name? Peter writes, New Empire is a good name. You've had it for years. Just run with it. That's right. I'm going to fight. I'm going to fight this comic professional to the death. I'm going to be like, how dare you, sir? Use anything that's remotely like my name. Oh, man. I'm like the Afghan army when it comes to comic book names. I surrender. You can have it. Some people be like, that's not funny. That's not funny, CB. Well, I'm sorry. Maybe it's too soon. I don't know. You gotta laugh sometimes. Jeez. I'm really butchering this. It was fine. Um, Till I started mucking around, acting like I know what I was doing. I love how Rob Liefeld does costume shading when he's drawing, when he's doing spandex. Um, Man, look at this. This is what I'm talking about right here. Look at that. I think that's awesome. I love how he does his spandex, and there is a rhyme and reason to it. Never gets credit for it though. A lot of people hate on him because I guess he may have an attitude, maybe. I don't know. Uh, Sometimes he rubs people the wrong way. Who knows? And because of that, they nitpick about his art here and there, which his art does deserve it from time to time. But other times it's like, come on, man, cut the man some slack. I mean, if you're going to be that nitpicky about that, like 99.9% of artists uh, couldn't make it. A lot of people still hung up on his feet, which he draws good feet now. Feet's not his problem anymore. I mean, I don't think he really ever had a problem drawing feet. It's just he would cover them up, and I mean, and if you're reading comics, look at feet. I mean, I don't know. should probably go read a Sam Keith comic, the Max or something. Get your feet fixed. But I was looking at a some of his work for GI Joe, Snake Eyes. Pretty good, solid stuff, storytelling wise. But then the things that he makes mistakes on is the little stuff, which is sometimes is the big things. Like he would have Snake Eyes swing a sword at somebody, but the angle that the sword was swung at, he could not. He can't cut because you can't physically bend your arm that way. But it looked cool. And then there was other times where Snake Eyes would have two swords, and then when one would disappear, and then the other sword would reappear. It's just weird stuff like that. He doesn't really pay attention to those small details, and I just wish that he's got the money to do it. I don't know if it's an ego thing, but if I was him, I would just hire like an understudy or something. Hire an assistant to come in and worry about the small stuff. Like sometimes, and I do it. Like he'll draw an eye that's here, and then there's the other eye be here. And like I feel like if he had an assistant, that they could go with their iPad or whatever, and then they can just raise that up. You know, little tiny things like that. Um, have somebody work on the backgrounds or when he draws vehicles. Because when Rob draws vehicles, it's either a tube or a square, and it may have wheels on it or it might not. So like hire an assistant to put details on that booger and make it look good. I love Rob Liefeld, by the way. I know it sounds like I'm trashing him, but I'm just saying. Feel like uh, feel like he's overdue an assistant. Apparently, uh, Jim Lee, he's had assistants, more than one person, that for many, many, many years have helping him, all the way going back to his X-Men days, help him to make his stuff look awesome, but they go unlisted, they don't really get their credit. Let's see. feel like I'm missing some comments. I've read them all though, pretty much. Lion Tiger Man 23 Power Pack. I think you're right. That's what John did. Power Pack. Power Pack. I love John's work. Yes, it's phenomenal. Superman stuff is awesome. I mistakenly told people in the past though that he drew Steel. I mean, he did draw Steel, but he only did like 1 or 2 issues of the comic, I think. What he drew was the Man of Steel Superman book, and it's kind of confusing. But he did a phenomenal job on it. I think you could add a rip on the left side of the face or something like that. We're going to tear up Captain America's face. That's what's happening here. If Neil Adams was to watch me draw ears, he'd have a heart attack. So I hope he never watches me draw ears, because I want him to stick around for a long time. Long time. He's all about that reference, and for good reason. I totally agree with him about the reference and stuff. You know, gotta have that reference. Don't guess at it. Just do it. Shia LaBeouf style. Yeah, that's pretty cool. It's got this. It kind of. I don't know how to put it. You know. Yeah, I feel like it's my own thing. I might be wrong about that. You know, I mean, here's what I was looking at. So this is Rob Liefeld, Captain America. C.B. Smallwood, Captain America. So that's what I like to do is I take the skeletal structure that somebody else has done, and then I just kind of tinker with it, and I make it my own, or try to, you know. So this came out looking a little bit like Bart Sears, Andy Smith type of vibe, and I love it. I think it looks good. We got a. I know you can't really see, but I started to put some feathers there. These are the worst looking feathers. Okay. Where's my lid at? I think that's what I dropped a while ago. I was looking for. So anyway, I just want to say this. Appreciate everybody watching and checking everything out. And I found my lid. Quick recap for anyone that wants to watch the replay of this. That the first 10 minutes or 20 minutes of this live stream was about UFOs. Some interesting stuff, for sure, I think. Probably wasn't as articulated as other people are about the subject. Talked about Star Trek, talked about possible future projects, talk about the creepypastas that I'm doing, talk about why I'm drawing Hulk, which is basically I just love drawing the Hulk, and I just needed to do something fun that was for me. And I would love to draw Hulk one day professionally. Really would. I would make it one of the best Hulk runs ever, or die trying. But, well, you know, let's not dream too much about the clouds, okay? Or about whatever. And yeah, I appreciate everybody tuning in, and I love doing these live streams. Yeah, I just love chatting with y'all and hanging out. Yeah, because I kind of feel like remember the old studio days? With Extreme Studios, with Wildstorm Studios, Maximum Press, Top Cow Studios, and all this other stuff. You know, all these different studios, right? And I remember reading about them in comic magazines and stuff like Wizard and stuff, and Hero magazine, not to be confused with another magazine that I did not know existed. You know, when I was trying to look up old copies of Hero magazine, you know, that talked about comics. Anyway, when I read these things back in the day, I was always so envious of people that worked in the studio system, where they would be buddies and they would talk about what they were working on. They would learn and grow together and stuff. And I guess one of the things I love about these live streams is that this is the closest alternative to that. You know, when you hang out with me, when I hang out with you in your live streams, whenever I happen to find them, that we're hanging out in a studio together. Maybe these studios all have different names, but we're right next door to each other. Uh, we're basically just little cubicles right next to each other, and just hanging out and having a good time. And I love it. I think it's awesome, and just really cool. And I just want to encourage you all, no matter who you are, what you're doing, just keep doing what you're doing. Keep drawing. You will get better. I'm nobody special. Okay, I'm nobody special. I've not got much accomplishments under my belt, but they're getting there slowly but surely. And even when it feels like sometimes you just, just want to jump off the bridge because just things just ain't coming quick enough. Which that sounded very dark. I didn't mean to sound dark, but you get my point. When it just very extremely stressful, just hang in there. Okay, just keep drawing. I don't care what you draw, or what you ink, or what you color, or what you letter, whatever your passion is. If you're wanting to be a professional wrestler, if you can't wrestle matches, lift some weights. Okay, do something that's going to take you a step further to where you want to be in life. All right, just hang in there and keep working, keep trucking, keep doing your thing. And as I always say, be the tide that rises all them ships. Okay, be that thing. Be the change that you want to see. All right. Carpe diem, y'all. Hang in there. Be good. Be great. Be nice to each other. And I will catch you on the next go around. Thanks for tuning in. And let me hit this button and hit this button and say goodbye.